On today, Mr. Happy Broadcast Show. Open Page is a band that is so dope. But we're going to hear a background, the person who wrote this song. I have him on the phone, everyone. Give me a little, you was giving me some info on how that song and what it means to you?
Right, how it came about.
Yes.
Okay, so even before Pete and I were in the band, there was a band called Saucy Jack, and they had a lead singer who was actually a pretty nice guy, but he was egotistical. He thought, he was a rock god, all this stuff. And, he wasn't really that talented. I mean, he was okay, but nothing special. But he used to boss everybody around.
Okay.
And then I came into the band, and he used to boss me around.
Okay.
Okay, and then we got to a point where, he wanted to write certain stuff in a certain way, and I was taking things more in a definite rock direction, a rock thing.
Yes.
And he fought against it. No, that's not what we are. No, that's what I am. And that's what, Jeff Golzinski and Jeff Dubach and Chris Hamill want to do.
Okay.
And he's like, no. Well, then Chris got in touch with his cousin, Pete, and said, well...
Who is the lead singer on this song?
Right.
Yes.
And he's like, well, you come down and, hang out with us for a couple of days, write some music, all that stuff. Well, it went so well that we decided to get rid of the old lead singer.
The old lead singer, okay.
Yeah, and replace him with Pete.
Okay.
Because Pete was much more on board with kind of what we were doing.
Okay, more of the rock style.
Yes, it was definitely more of the rock style. They were, you gotta imagine the early 1990s in college. It was like this, I'm trying to think of the bands, but it wasn't really a heavy rock kind of thing. It was more of a hippie rock thing that was going on, and that's not what I played.
Back in the 90s, so you was more advanced. So first, before we go even further.
Advanced, it was just a different style. I mean, they wanted to be the Pearl Jams or whatever. I don't know, but I was writing stuff that was totally different from that. And in a very short period of time, I got Pete, Chris, Jeff, and Jeff Dubach on board.
And these are all the people on this song.
This is the stuff we want to write and record.
Yes.
And so we had to fire Mark. That was the old lead singer.
Okay.
And of course, he got completely ridiculous and was spreading rumors all over town. And it was a very small town musically.
And where was this town?
Kalamazoo.
Kalamazoo, okay.
Yeah, Western Michigan.
You was going to Western Michigan, and your major were into music, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I was a jazz studies major. Anyway, okay, so he got all kinds of bent out of shape and all kinds of spreading stuff around, and that's when Chris decided to write that song about him, his moralizing headful.
Really? So he wrote the lyrics among... Okay, what I just heard through this whole story, you said that he was coming to be a bossy and mean, but more like a bully, like he the main lead. Okay.
He was really good looking, and the chicks loved him.
Uh-huh.
But he was not on board with what we wanted to do musically. He was a great frontman. I mean, he really was. He was charismatic. He was all this stuff, but he wanted to play all this hippie crap, and the rest of us didn't.
Okay. So we wanted to move a little challenge up high.
The rest of us wanted to rock out.
Okay. I understand that we wanted to groove. We come from
all these acoustic guitar stuff and not that I have anything against acoustic, but that's not what I was writing.
I hope not, because I love acoustic, but I hear what you're saying coming from the UP, and we wanted to do a little more. I still say, by listening to you, you had like I say, the artist Prince. And Prince was beyond his own talent. So that's what I'm saying to you.
Beyond his, years and beyond his influence.
Well, I'm saying that about you as well. So God have given you that talent and that gift, and so you compose. Yes, it might have been in the '90s, more of the hippie. We ain't discouraging anything about that.
That I was writing this
yes.
stuff, it was not popular.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. He was open doors and give to you.
There was a certain little bit of a corner of music that kind of played into that groove rock, and that's what we really were. It was not heavy metal.
Yes. Groove rock.
It was groove rock.
And that wasn't played.
As much to do with the bass player and the drummer than it did anything I played.
Yes. Keep going.
Yeah, and so that's the direction we wanted to all go, except for Mark. And then, Chris and I had to, unfortunately, we were tasked with the job of firing him.
Okay.
And of course, he freaked out, and then there was rumors all over town, and we were all druggies, we were all stupid, we were, it was bad. But then we came out after we rehearsed and got our sets together. We started opening for some big bands, stuff in Kalamazoo, and everybody loved us.
Yes. So Open Page
was this kind of new thing.
Yes. And Open Page, what you all gonna get to hear and hear, and that was written back in when?
1991.
1991. And I'm telling you, so that Chris wrote this song due to Michael on Open Page through all the stupidity, hatred, or what? Or just didn't understand.
It was a bad band breakup. Which we've all had.
Correct.
Several times over, through my years, many times over. So yeah, it happens. But, that's what you use as your inspiration to write.
That is correct. But Open Page, when I was listening to that today, I'm telling you guys, this song is powerful. It touched my heart and my soul, and I know it would touch the world. And it's an open page of anything that is going on to your life.
At the time, it was not the style that was popular, but it was all I could write. That's what I was into.
Wow. So when you saying writing, composing the music, because you said Chris wrote the lyrics.
Right. I gave him pretty much the entire song arrangement up front.
So you composed the music.
Everything. I knew exactly how I wanted the arrangement to go. And from that, he took and wrote the lyrics, and Pete sang them, and that was it.
So you knew how every arrangement. So when you were saying you was taking music, not music appreciation, your degree is in music background. You taking music. So you was writing. I know when I was in school, my teacher back in Saginaw High, she was a director, and she was a music person as well, and she can write music notes. That's what you did explaining to me. I know in the new technology.
I never wrote anything down on paper.
You did not write, so you composed it through your head.
Oh yeah, it was just I wrote literally by ear, and I put it on tape. I gave it to Chris. He put it, lyrics to it, and then we all got together and figured out arrangements for it. And really, I kind of was figuring it was a little bit of a lame song until Chris Dubach got a hold of it. And when he started drumming to it, oh my God, I was like, oh shit, this is huge. This is like all of a sudden I went to writing a 4-chord piece of music that, I thought was cool. It was groovy. It kind of had a groove thing to it. And I thought it was kind of cool. But then when he started drumming to it, I was like, holy shit.
Well, I tell you, the vocalist and the drum, the whole background of this music, but I was listening to it. I'm like, where he gonna come in? And I love music so much, I can go over a wave of the music, but my ears, like, listening to this, I'm like, where he gonna come in? How you gonna? Oh, he's killing it! Yeah. Oh Lord!
Well, you listen to the drums on that song, and it's crazy.
You can
And,
feel the energy and the vibe. It's all about the
that was a
vibe.
4-piece set.
Yes.
I mean, we brought a very little set to the studio. It was a 4-piece drum set with, quite a bit of cymbals and stuff. But, he wasn't playing a big set. It wasn't like a big thing. And he just killed it.
So how long did it take you guys to record this? And then you was telling me
both songs.
Yes.
We did in one night, first takes, and then the next night we went back and did the vocals and the Hammond B3 on the second night. That was it.
Wow.
So we spent 2 nights. Probably 12 hours total.
12 hours totally of doing this track.
Yeah.
Wow.
Both tracks.
But you was also
open
as
pages and headphone.
headphone, yes, that open the pages. But also, you was in school at this time and you was working at what place? Proco, and you was doing what?
Well, I started off doing cables.
Mm-hmm.
Guitar cables, speaker cables, all that stuff. I started off as a solderer.
Yes.
I would solder cables all night long, and I worked midnights.
Wow.
And then I got bumped up to the custom shop, and that's where I met my dude that built my amp for me.
So your dude that built your amp for you, what made him want to build this amp for you?
Him and I just got bullshitting.
Yes.
We sat there. Well, after I moved up to the custom shop, I wasn't working nights anymore. I was working days.
Yes.
And so he was in there all the time, and he was just a genius.
Yeah.
He was just a genius.
A genius. He reminded you of.
Like I said, we both like listening to Rush Limbaugh. So I would sit in his corner, and we would listen to Rush all day and talk about stuff. And and he would ask me what I was doing, and I would say, I'm in this band, and all this. And he's like, well, what are you using for an amp? And I said, well, right now I'm using a borrowed Marshall, which doesn't really sound that great.
Yes.
But it's all right. It's not bad. He goes, I'll build you an amp.
Whoa.
And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, okay, he's going to build me this little transistor amp or whatever. And no, he built me a full stereo tube amp.
Tube amp.
And the first time I plugged into it, I'm like, oh my God.
Yes. Wow.
This thing has got so much balls that.
It has so much balls?
Oh my God, it had balls.
Really?
It would move air through the room.
No!
It was insane.
It was giving that sound that you never heard. So what happened?
Yeah, and then I tried to pay him for it, and he's like, no.
No way. See, I think that's because you're humble hearted and you felt your angelic in spirit.
Well, we just got friends, and that's what he liked to do, was build stuff. So he was all for it.
Well, then you tell me that the guy in this.
You should have seen this thing. It had like these metal switches and these dials that would go up and down. I mean, it looked like something out of the 1950s.
But where is it now?
Oh, it like I said, it fried.
It fried, or did it blow up?
It blew up. I mean, every transistor, every tube in it.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
For several years there, I used it for every gig, every recording, everything. Like I said, you had to turn it on 5 minutes before you would use it because it had to warm up for 5 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. So we will be hearing this.
Freaking good. I mean, it was like, this is the tone you dream about.
So we will be hearing this amp on this track, Open Page.
Well, on that, that's the amp on that track.
Wow. So, but then you also tell me the guy that you was renting the studio from, the guy that was recording you guys wanted that amp?
Yeah, in Grand Rapids.
He wanted that amp as well. Well, I know you know.
He offered to buy it from me.
Really?
No, not a chance.
Wow. Handmade amp was made by a genius. She gave it to you.
He was too.
And you traveled.
His name. I don't remember his last name.
Steve.
But Steve.
Wow.
And he looked like Albert Einstein. He had the mustache. He had the crazy fucking hair going out from under his hat. I mean, he looked just like Albert Einstein. And he was the neatest guy. I mean, he was so cool.
He was so cool, too.
At the time, I was only 23, 24.
So he would
You
look
know, and
at
he
you.
was in his probably late 50s or 60s, something like that.
Oh, like I. Yes.
Yeah.
He
But
was being
we
a
got along.
mentor towards you. He
Yeah,
s-
we just got along, and
he
um,
felt your compassion of music.
well, and like I said, he liked to build stuff.
And
And
he
if he could build something for somebody else, he was all for it.
but you think he would have paid we might have would have had to pay for it, but see, he built that for you because he felt your passion and that you was a
Well,
good
yeah, and
person in need.
I played for him
Oh, you
before, and
have.
and he knew I was a pretty good player, and he knew what I wanted to play, so he built the amp towards my style.
Well, who you played with? I know you done a lot of things as you done told me. Y'all done traveled so many places, but what made you wanted to get? Now name the people again who was in this band and the lead singers, please.
Well, okay, that band,
That's singing
um,
on Open Page.
yeah, okay, that's Pete singing.
Yes, Pete Hammer.
Chris Hamill is doing background vocals and the Hammond B3, which, by the way, we had to haul around all over the place and felt like it was full of cement. And then Chris Dubach was the drummer.
Yes.
And then Jeff Golzinski, like I said, from Gladstone, who I'd played in several different bands with before then, was our bass player at that point.
Wow.
And
you
he was incredibly talented and went on to
really
do great things in Detroit. Yeah, I mean,
in
he's still a great
Detroit?
player. Yeah, he's still a great player.
Wow. So Chris did some movies as not Chris, Pete.
Yeah, Pete.
Wow. Everybody that's in this group that was in this group is so humble. And I love that so much.
And talented.
And very talented. And these people are most of them are from the UP.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 were from the UP.
Including yourself, but what did you what did you play?
5 were from the UP.
What did you play?
Guitar.
You played the guitar. And
all
you
the guitar on those tracks is me. All of it.
Wonderful. And you arranged the tracks too
And
as
I
well.
wrote songs.
And you wrote the song.
Those were my tunes. I brought them into the band, and that's when kind of things went south, because Open the Pages actually Open the Pages and Headful. Yeah, Open the Pages I brought in to rehearsal one night, and we just started. We didn't even have the full arrangement. It was one kind of riff.
Yes.
And I started playing it, and Jeff and Chris were just like jamming to it. Jeff Dubach was jamming to it. He's like, "Oh, this is awesome. We could do something with this." And Mark's like, "No, this isn't our thing. This isn't what we do." And blah blah blah. And we're all like looking at each other like, "Well, dude, you're kind of the outside man here."
You bet you ain't the outspoken. Come on, you person. Come on.
The rest of us are grooving on this, and you're saying, "Well, it's not our thing," because you know what? It didn't highlight him.
Okay, we have some little. I don't want to say envious. Yeah, envious is different than jealousy. Correct?
Yes, correct.
So I think they had a little. They was cocky and had to look okay, but in the women's, I saw what you were saying.
He couldn't have done the job on that song.
No, you don't, because he wasn't feeling it in that way.
Well, exactly.
And he wasn't in that vibe stage where God have taken you to another level. Yeah. And then it's amazing.
Pete just incredibly embraced it and made it his own, and just, I mean, he added more personality to that song than I could have ever imagined.
Well, I'm just honored that I'm going to be able to have the opportunity to be able to sing and do some little fun stuff that you always see. I mean, just hanging out.
Yeah, when you are hanging out around that kind of talent.
Yes.
It's a blessing. It's a gift. It really is. And I feel so blessed to call them all my friends, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
And they still performing to this day, though.
They make me better.
Yes, they make you better.
Yes, they make me better.
Wow.
I had kind of a crisis of confidence going on for a little while at that point, because I was so kind of outside the lines. Yes. Everybody else was doing, this other crap.
Correct.
and you know, the Grateful Dead and all this stuff. And no, I wanted to rock the fuck out.
And that you did. I'm telling you, you rocked the alpha out of this one. Trust me.
You gotta believe this was the early '90s, so it was after the '80s hair metal stuff. It was into the grunge stage, and
but you was in your 20s.
Yeah, I was in my.
So I'm telling you, it was beyond your time.
20s.
You was beyond your time, and you said you played this in your.
Van Halen and
yeah.
You know, I mean Ted Nugent, and you know, I wanted to rock the fuck out.
Wow! So, but you like the Beatles?
But Beatles are the best band ever. They are my universal favorites for all time. And yes, and that's where a lot of the vocal stuff came from on those two songs, was Beatles influence.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying this song is so,
you know,
it touched my
vocal things.
Yeah.
Those were Beatles. Yeah, that was definitely Beatles, because Chris and Pete were both into the Beatles too. So.
Well, you was telling me as well, this when y'all was recording this song, the studio guy wanted you to take out some of the courses in there.
He wanted me to take out the bridge in Headful, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he's like, well, and then I think you need to replace your lead singer. You know, these songs would be much better with a different lead singer.
In like, open page, in headphone?
Fuck no. I mean, we told him straight out, go fuck yourself. We're not.
Wow.
You know, and he kind of said, well, then I'm not really going to work with you.
Well, he wasn't y'all manager.
Whatever.
He was not y'all manager, no way.
No. He was just the guy that ran the studio, and he kind of acted as our producer for those first two tunes.
Yes.
But yeah, once he started talking that shit, I was like, no.
I think he would act as your producer because of the simple fact when you hear these vocals and hearing the talent in his tracks. Trust me, I would have tried to take you too.
Well, but Pete wasn't what was popular at the time. His vocals was not what was the thing in 1991, 1992.
When I graduated,
it was
82.
We were ahead of our time. Let's put it that way.
Thank you. I was waiting on that. That's what I kept trying to say, ahead of your time.
And he didn't see it, and I'm like, well, there's no way we're getting rid of Pete. There's no way I'm getting rid of that bridge in Headful. You can pretty much go screw yourself.
Wow.
I mean, it's not gonna happen.
Wow. Well, I tell you, we're going to close for today. I appreciate you all. We got a little podcast going on. You heard the head person that wrote this song, and now I'm going to arrange it and wrote it and everything. And you're going to hear Pete Hammond, Chris Hammond, and you're going to hear Dubach, and you're going to hear my boy, Brett. Yes, and you're going to hear a dynamic track. I'm telling you, I'm very impressed with it. I'm very thankful how they are so humble. And just get ready and listen to the open page. Everybody, love, love, love is in the air. Tune in later. On today, Mr. Happy Podcast Show.
Described in gluttony, the author hit the wall. Hidden inside the frozen pipelines of my mind. You see, it's everything, everything. You change your mind in time. a friend of mine. Revealing enemies, what a waste of time. Receiving messages from strangers down the line. Think they know everything, well, everything. You change your mind in time. He said everything would change. The reason I lost the ways I'm gonna say. Calling to silence all the underminers. Run mental circles in this heart of mine. Open the pages, lay your lifetimes left behind. They'll tell you everything, well, everything. You change.